All right, welcome to Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. We have all three hosts here today, Katie and Kyle. Katie, how are you doing?
Good, busy. A couple more days and I'll be on the road or on the air, whatever it is. But
On the air?
it's been a busy in the air, on the road, in the air, whatever. Um, it's just been a very busy week.
Well, we
But
appreciate you taking time today out of your busy schedule to get ready and joining the podcast. Kyle, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I had a pretty good week this week, and I'm excited to podcast with you guys.
Well, it's great to
how
have
are you,
everyone
Ryan?
here. Oh, sorry, I stepped on you there, Katie.
I was just asking how your week's been.
Oh, I'm enjoying my leave off work. I've still got like just under 5 weeks left of paid leave. It's great. I podcast, edit, of course, with my family, helping with chores and appointments, and just giving Becky a break as much as I can while I can. If you're listening to this in our Discord, we welcome you. We have 3 listeners in our Discord. We've got Louise, Melissa, Kay, and Donald. So our regulars are here. I will say it 100 times, and I don't care because I know we can get more people. We definitely have enough listeners to get people in the Discord chat. Granted, you have to come when we're actually live. People are busy. It's Friday night. We're just a couple, ham and eggers. Who's gonna hang out with us on a Friday night? But anyways, we welcome those that are hanging out with us live. It's really kind of cool because you guys, I'm sure, throughout this discussion will chime in and we bounce off your ideas and your thoughts while we record, and that makes the show on iTunes and stuff. So it's cool having you guys. So welcome. All right. Well, no emails. We actually can just start rolling into the film, if you can believe it. Anyone got anything to say before we roll into it?
I can believe it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm kind of surprised. I got the feeling Greg the First doesn't listen to us anymore because I've purposely have called him out, and not in a bad way, but just like, hey, Greg, we missed, because he always has great emails and he always has great insight, but I think he gave up on our show.
With all of our downer talk about
Yeah, we're
Adonis,
pretty
perhaps.
brutal. We're pretty brutal
Yeah.
about Adonis, since he might have got tired of it. That's fine. I understand that. I do have something to run by you guys. Just, I might edit this out with the final show, but how would you feel about rolling into Rambo sooner than later and alternate between the two shows? So, like, meaning like 1 week we could do Rambo, the next week we would do Creed, that kind of thing.
Doesn't make
I'm
Doesn't matter to me.
indifferent.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, do you want to do Rambo? I hope you're.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I kind of do because I have only seen the first 2,
Right.
and it's been quite some time since I've seen them, so it's not quite a brand new experience, but
And we
close compared to you guys for sure.
and it would be the exact same way we're doing it now. We'd play the film and we'll talk about which brings me to another question to you guys. Again, I might edit this for the final episode recording, but I did a recording with Jared Talkstein of the Hyperspace Podcast. We reviewed Burt Reynolds' movie Heat. It came out on the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network under the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast channel, if you want to say so. Check it out. It's a really great review of the movie Heat, starring Burt Reynolds from 1986. Well, he's been a fan of our show since we were covering Rocky 3. He's listened to every episode. He loves our podcast, and he's a podcaster himself. And he's one of, I think, our many listeners who want us to revisit with you guys, Kyle and Katie, back to the Rocky 1 and forward again. It's kind of like where Katie and you, Kyle, joined the show. So I guess like Rockies 1 through 5.
Well, I
Yeah.
wasn't part of the show at that time, so I would love it just because I like those better. But yeah. Also,
It was so different back then too, right? Sorry to interrupt.
no, I was just gonna ask Ryan. I don't recall that episode coming out like in the feed, like I use Stitcher, or
Right.
and it didn't. It's not an episode like available. It didn't
Oh.
get.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's weird. Okay, yeah. So he actually wanted to say too that he thinks as a listener of our show, he thinks we've really hit our stride, content wise or flow wise, when we started doing what we're doing right now, playing the episode or playing the movie talking about it. He enjoys it. Maybe not everybody, but as a podcaster himself, he's enjoyed our coverage, and he kind of wants us to maybe reinvestigate that way of doing it with the earlier films with you guys in tow. So I don't know, things to think about. Let that stew in your brain a little bit, especially when you're on vacation. Because I know, Katie, while you're on vacation, all you're gonna do is think about our podcast while you're on vacation. No.
Yep.
But,
Soak your head, kid. Soak it good.
yeah, soak your head, Kate. Soak it good.
What a depressing vacation.
Yeah. Make sure you bring your comics. They're good for fertility.
I don't want any fertility.
All right. Well, okay, let's do it. Let's rock and roll here. If you don't hear it, let me know. So basically what's happened here, for our listeners jumping on, is Rocky's been told by Marianne, this is for Kyle because he wasn't here last week in particular, but via letter with a picture of a baby that's coming, that, hey, Adonis needs you. And our theory on that was not just that Adonis needs you because he has a baby, but because he's got a baby, whether you agree with his fighting or not, he's going to fight, and I'd rather you were in his corner so he's there for his baby in the future. That's kind of what we feel like is the reason why Rocky has agreed to kind of return to Adonis' corner. So it wasn't a revenge or let's get the belt back, but just like, okay, if this guy's going to continue fighting regardless, Marianne at least wants Rocky to be there because she thinks he's the best for Adonis. What do you think of that?
I think so. Plus, I imagine Rocky probably has some guilt still about what happened with Apollo, and that interfered a bit. It had some influence on his decision not to do that with Adonis. And probably, like, Marianne represents that guilt because it was her husband that was lost. And so it's like once Marianne kind of gives her blessing there, that kind of removes that obstacle out of the way. I think that's an addition to what you said. I do agree that, like, Rocky's doing it more for Adonis as a person rather than... I don't think the title and all that stuff really matters to Rocky so much anymore.
Just Adonis' safety. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he feels bad for him. Like, he sees what he's going through there and he wants to help him.
All right, so what we got here is we got Adonis driving up to, I guess, Marianne's mansion. Boy, what a palatial... What's that the word? Palatial?
Palatial.
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 Look at this thing.
I said palatial about Apollo's box at training camp or whatnot, right?
Yes, his palatial gym.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Hey, Ma. Ma.
So it's the same house or the same foyer, anyways, from the first Creed film.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ma.
How you doing, kid?
What are you doing here?
I hope you don't mind. Your mom asked if I would come out because she's worried about you. I am too.
I'm good. You ain't even have to come all this way.
By train. 3 days on the train. That's all right, give you time to think. And you watch all these places whipping by the windows like postcards. It's quite an experience.
All right, thoughts on this initial greeting?
I love it. I love that Rocky took the train, and this is actually a reference to his real life Rocky 1 experience. He, I guess, couldn't afford a plane ticket from LA to Philly and took the train from there. So he does actually have that experience of going cross-country by train. And he says his dog Butkus didn't make the whole trip. And then when he got to Philly, just unloaded this huge mess. Sorry if that's gross or TMI.
That's fine.
Oh,
That's just
you mean you said Rocky, but I was confused. I'm like, wait, did I miss something? Sylvester, I caught on after you said.
Pardon me. I kind of conflate the two. Like
we all do. We've done it so many times on the show. Yeah.
Okay, but it just seems like something Rocky would do as a character way. would be to take the train, and I really loved how he said that places just go by like postcards. Like that's such a weird thing to say, but also like it's kind of a cute Rocky-ism. Like I was just really in line with this character. I thought that was really well done.
I totally agree.
I had forgotten about I mean, not the train, but he says it took him 3 days.
Oh, we lost you. Are you back? Okay, we can't hear you. Just jump
Hear you.
jump in and out of the chat. Just jump in and out of the chat. Come back, and maybe we'll reset your audio. It's okay. We'll just try that. Actually, I can just pause the recording while she's doing that. Just one sec.
Yeah, I had forgotten that it had taken him 3 days and that he calls that out. But it's never explained why. Like what the issue with flying, like why wouldn't he fly?
Yeah, I don't think we're led to believe that Rocky's opposed to flying because, of course, he flew to Russia. And he got off the plane in Rocky 5. Maybe just money. Money? Like, flights aren't, I mean, they're not that crazy.
No. Taking the train across the country is way more expensive than flying. It's considerably more expensive. Like Amtrak is not cheap. Like the only routes in Amtrak that are like half easily priced are the Northeast Corridor routes. That's an old man thing to do, is to take the train and to kind of see the scenery, and you have nothing else to do, right?
That's true.
I know he's probably running his restaurant, but
It's
that
more
kind of gives him
comfortable, I
time to
suppose.
think and prepare. And
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe just collect his thoughts, not to rush there. Maybe he just wanted the time to think. Yeah, people on our Discord are agreeing that trains would be more expensive, so maybe he just wanted time to think.
Have you guys taken the train?
yeah,
Somewhat far away?
Not far.
Or,
Um,
like a day?
I've taken Amtrak before. Like I went from New York to Philly, and then from Philly to DC, and then back to New York by train. And then I also did a day trip from Boston to New York by train too. And it was really cool. Like you get to see, like it's just different than flying. It's kind of like you take this journey. It's way more comfortable. Like you have a better seat, and I don't know. The train experience is just way better and different than the flying experience. But
Agreed.
those were short train rides that aren't that expensive. But yeah, that cross country one is pretty brutal. And then I took the train when I lived in England too, because that's pretty common. But I've never
nice.
done like cross country or anything.
And Donald in our chat said that 3 days sounds about right from DC to Vegas. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you say so.
Yeah, it was nice. This is wonderful. How you have all this out here. You could have the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
So what he's referring to here for our listeners is that Rocky's looking, of course, at the Apollo spread of trophies and awards and all that kind of stuff. And he then says to Adonis, you could have the same thing. You could have a mini museum in your name type thing, which I found was kind of interesting that Rocky would kind of lead with that, with a, you could have glory too like this. You could have a legacy like this as well.
Trying to butter him up, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think also it's like Adonis has always kind of lived in his dad's shadow. And so I think it's hard for him to become the champ and then lose it on his first title defense.
Yeah.
Everyone will just say, oh, he's just a flash in the pan. He's nothing like his old man. And this is Rocky's way of kind of saying, you could be like your dad. Like you could be a not just a champion, not just someone who said, oh, my claim to fame is that I got the title, but to become like one of the greats in boxing.
And he's about to say here, Rocky is about to say, I mean, not just the shiny stuff. So there you go. He's going to give us a bit of probably a metaphor, some sort of wisdom here, beyond just the trophy. So let's check it out.
I mean, not just the shiny stuff, but the better stuff. A better life. Be a better man. You know, I was thinking about what you were saying about what smart decisions have I made lately. Couldn't think of many. You know, I wasn't even there when my son's son, my grandson, was born. And he's like that tall now, probably, and I don't even know him. He doesn't know me.
Okay, so I don't think this is a what's the word I'm looking for? A fake way of opening up to Adonis, because he's exposing his own weaknesses here, exposing his own failures as a man. Because he knows, well, he does know,
Yeah.
he does know Adonis feels like a failure, that he feels like a future failure to his kids. So Rocky's kind of saying, look, I'm a failure too. I've failed my son. I wasn't there for my grandson's birth. We don't know each other, but why? I kind of wish we heard or got an indication as to why they're so distant. That he hasn't even spoken to his grandson, like over Skype or phone calls or nothing.
Yeah, that is weird. That is, because you don't get the impression from Rocky Balboa or the Creed movie. Well, he wasn't in the Creed movie, but like the son. But you get the impression from Rocky Balboa that their relationship was bad. In fact, it seemed to have improved when his son quit his job and was training with him, and his son got to connect with him there. Like, Rocky certainly has the resources and time to come out and see his son, and his son probably could come home to Philly once in a while. So,
It
like,
cuts
yeah,
both
that is weird.
ways.
That's really weird.
It cuts both. We've mentioned this before, that it does cut both ways. That Robert, why isn't he reaching out? Why isn't he just saying, "Look, we got to stop this, Dad. Let's have a relationship." So I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, and people go crazy over grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
Like grandkids are like the dividends of having kids. Like, you get all the cool kid stuff without like the bullshit of being a parent. Like, giving that up, that's insane.
That's true. Though I've told my kids, no rush giving me grandkids.
I don't know if Rocky had a lot of the bullshit of parenting since they had help, but
Yeah,
think
the
he got-
robot.
I'm sure he did, because it's like there's a lot of the bullshit that you don't get help with, like when they're teenagers and they go through their rebellious phase, and
you're
you
right.
know, they don't think you know anything.
When they wear
Yeah.
boxing glove earrings and
Oh, that's right.
oh, you're
He
the
gets
daughter.
beat up.
You're the daughter I always wanted. Boy, that
Yeah, they ended really like they mended their relationship. Like that's how Rocky Balboa ended. So yeah, it's very
Yeah.
strange.
My theory is, as someone who has zero training in psychology whatsoever, I think Rocky has not a lot of emotional depth, because I think you have to be raised at that, in a way. Like, you have to be modeled with that, and I think he, instead of facing a lot of his emotions, he probably is just doing avoidance strategies. Like, he probably gets the urge to call, but then it brings up a lot of feelings. So he's like, okay, I'll just call tomorrow, and then tomorrow doesn't come.
Well, we've seen that a couple times where he has picked up the phone and he doesn't follow through. It's like anything. If you haven't talked to someone in so long and then you start talking with them, it's like, this is awkward. You know, we haven't talked, so you just kind of delay never speaking again by not speaking again because it just gets more and more awkward. Have you ever experienced that, Katie? You're laughing like you've experienced
I
that.
gotta step out for a second, guys. My
Okay,
dog's
no.
freaking out.
No
Yeah.
worries. We'll continue.
Oh, this is not related. The reason it made me laugh was because, it's like a shtick on TV shows, but even in like real life, like you meet someone like on a TV show, and like so much, you think their name is something else, and then you learn their correct name, and then like too much time has passed to like correct it, so you just leave it be.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
it
either
reminds
you've
me of.
said the wrong name this whole time, or you don't know their name, so you never say their name.
And then it's too late to be like, "Hi, I'm so and so. What's your name?"
And I have
Yeah.
done that.
Speaking of kid bullshit, I just locked my kid out of the house
There you go.
by accident. My 8-year-old daughter.
Oh my god.
Well, she won't give you any grandkids if you keep that up.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. We got some good
No
comments
worries.
here from Melissa. Melissa says Rocky is just sweet here as always, but yes, it does bother her that he has a bad relationship with Robert. And then Louise says that Rocky is the most endearing, crappy dad of all time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yep.
That's great. Louise he's always great with those comments, boy. He should podcast. He knows about these things. What's that, Katie?
No, the Melissa's like he is really sweet here. I also love it's very Rocky-esque.
What are you bumping? You bumped something now. That's what it's. Are you bumping something? Okay, I'll pause it again. You hop back in. Hop back in. I'll pause.
Because I swear it's like these poor Discord listeners. But it didn't happen on whatever else we were using.
The thing about Discord,
Anyway.
the advantage. Well, there is probably something with Discord. It's not a perfect system. The advantages of Discord is it's free, and I do pay a little bit for. It's like $5 a month to have a little bit of higher stream, but people can join it, and we don't have to reset every 40 minutes. Like with Zoom, if you have more than 2 people, you have to reset. But Zoom is still the best, but it costs like, anyways, it's like $25 a month.
Yeah.
It's expensive, and I didn't. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's keep. We'll keep playing the scene.
That's pathetic. Why won't you just call him?
Ain't that easy, you know. Listen,
So I'd honestly ask a very fair question. What we just talked about. Why don't you just call him? And
Yeah.
and our theory was, of course, that once you've waited so long, it just gets harder and harder. I think, Kyle.
Yeah, especially where it's like, and when you do call, you almost kind of have to explain why you haven't called for so long. And then it's like a vicious cycle. The problem just keeps getting worse and worse. But what you really have to do is just swallow your pride and call and just say, hey, look, I should have called. I fucked up. I'd like to have a relationship if you're cool with that. Like I care about you. I care about whoever the grandkid is. And make sure you know his name, though. That's important.
Do you remember his name?
I don't.
Do you remember Katie?
Logan?
Logan, yeah.
Slogan. Yeah.
Which is great. I have a son named Logan, so that's yeah.
Canadians are just named Logan. Like Wolverine's Canadian, and his name's Logan.
That's true. Well, actually,
And-
we named our son after Wolverine.
Did you really?
Yeah, for real. Because we were in my ex-wife and I, we were in the theater watching the first X-Men in 2000, and my son was born in 2000, and I didn't know Wolverine's name was Logan, and I was like, oh, this guy's really cool. Like, I never knew Hugh Jackman. It's my first time seeing him on the screen, and I thought he was really cool, and I thought his character was cool, and like, yeah, I like that name Logan, and so let's name our son Logan. That's kind of what it was. It was exactly that.
I didn't even know that the Wolverine's name was Logan.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's how we named our son Logan. And I've mentioned before that my youngest son's middle name is Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Get
it.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's dedication, man. That's dedication.
Grayson, yeah, it's Grayson Stallone. So,
Holy fuck.
yeah. I love it. I think it sounds great.
I do too. I like it as well.
I don't want you making the same mistakes I made. You know what I mean? So you gotta ask yourself, what's the valuable stuff? It's like I asked you before. What were you really fighting for?
I was afraid. This. Expectations. Being a champ. I was scared I couldn't do what he couldn't. It's weird. I used to feel like he was a part of me. Now I can't hear him, or that thing that tells me to get in the ring. Move my feet, keep my hands up, hit anything that gets in my way. Can't hear it anymore.
What's he lost? What's he lost, everybody?
We got money. We got cars.
But we don't have the truth. Well, granted, he's now saying the truth. He lost the eye of the tiger. Isn't that what I think that's what he's kind of alluding
Yeah.
to. He does. He says he doesn't hear the ring. He doesn't hear the voice in his head to get the fighter call or whatever you want, the warrior's call or whatever you want to. He doesn't hear it. I think that's what he's saying. No.
He says,
I think so, but go ahead, Katie. Sorry.
just like repeating Rocky 3. Essentially, he says, "I'm afraid. God damn it! You want to break me down?" And
I guess the question is, what's he's afraid of?
he said of the
and-
expectations.
Yeah, expectation.
Yeah,
he
like-
said he would be afraid to do what his dad couldn't do, and I don't know what that was. What was he referring to that?
I think it's he's afraid if you go in and fight and you don't get all this, it proves beyond a doubt that you actually aren't as good as your dad. And if you don't fight, then there is some room for doubt there. There is some room like, well, maybe I could have, maybe he could have, but it's just it's too afraid to face that reality of knowing for sure.
Have you either of you care about your parents' legacy? I try to. It's an odd thing. Like I love my folks, but I've never once thought like I gotta live up to my dad. He's a great guy. He's been he's a hard worker. I mean, I've never wanted to disappoint them as a normal son or relationship with my parents. I don't want to be a disappointment in general to anybody, let alone my parents or my spouse. So, but at the end of the day, I'm living up to my dad's legacy, and this is not offense to him. I don't have a legacy in the sense of like I'm not a superstar. So is this just something that the elite feel, the children of the elite?
Well, I think he's judged based on his dad all the time, right? Like if you're a Creed, instead of like when your name's mentioned, it isn't you that's thought of first; it's your dad.
That's what I mean. This must be
And
a
that's
problems
the
of the elite.
measuring stick. Yeah, well, I guess so. Yeah, like it's for the well known. Like that's the measuring stick you're always measured against is your dad, and like that's a lot of pressure to be under. And I think there's also weird dad issues with him too, right? Because he was like his dad died, but then he was not a Creed for a while, and then he was taken in by Marianne and became one, and that was a weird transition. I'm sure. Like he needs therapy. Basically, and Rocky's kind of being his therapist right now because he'll never go to see a real therapist, so he has to get the Rocky therapy.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine though. I mean, his dad was one of the most famous people ever. And then, you know, to some degree though, if you choose the same path that your famous parent chose, I mean, it is what it is. Like that's part of the deal.
Yeah, that's a good point because I don't think I would guess at least that Creed's other children don't feel the need to live up to him the same way Adonis would.
Yeah, if they're like an accountant or something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald brought up a good point. He said if Adonis fails, he's also not as good as Rocky, so that fear is doubled.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
legacies.
it's like there's certain families are it's like a boxing family. Yeah. If your whole family is in a certain industry.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like if for hockey, Wayne Gretzky and his brother hold the record for the most goals or points by a pair of NHL brothers. Wayne Gretzky's brother was in the NHL and recorded a total of 4 assists for 4 points in his career. But Wayne Gretzky's points were so high that it's the highest of any brother pair that's ever played.
There are a lot of brother pairs in football, American football, that are both are pretty well known. But can you imagine family gatherings? Like there's some pretty famous ones, like the Mannings, and then
Right.
there were good. Whatever happened to the Barbers? Actually, I think one of them is a sportscaster now, but like Tiki and forget the other one's name, Barber. They were both real good looking. And I think one of them is a sportscaster now. But anyway, there's like I would not want to compete. Oh, and then the Williams sisters in
Right.
tennis. There's yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was a little bit better than the other one. Serena, I think, is better. Yeah,
Well, one of them kind of has to. They can't be just perfectly
the
equal,
same.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing with competitive people too. Like, I'm actually not a super competitive person. Like, for instance, if I play a game with someone and I lose, I don't like to lose. I would prefer to win,
Sure. Yeah.
but it's not a huge deal. Where like other people I play with, it's like they get really upset if they lose. Like they kind of have to win. Like some people just have that competitive spirit where like you really have to beat other people for whatever reason. Like it's just a drive within them, and I think Adonis has that too. I don't think that's the main factor, but I think that probably aggravates things as well.
I don't even know how I lost.
Your mind wasn't right. And your natural style just won't work with a guy that big.
So Rocky gave the two quick reasons here why Adonis lost. Now, granted, the Rocky wasn't in his corner, but he's saying first off, your mind wasn't right. It wasn't the right spot for this type of fight. It was all about the revenge and trying to revenge your dad and all this stuff. So that wasn't the right headspace. And then second, your style of fighting didn't match his. It's like paper, rock, scissors, right? In this sense, Victor was rock and he was scissors. Like scissors can do something against something else, but against the rock, you just got smashed.
And that's 100% true. Like in boxing, styles can make fights. Like you can't, like it's a real fallacy to say, like I'll just use real life examples. George Foreman easily beats Ken Norton. Ken Norton has done well against Ali, therefore Foreman will do well against Ali. No. Like that's not how that works. And that's Rocky would know this from experience because this was his exact same problem against Clubber Lang. His mind wasn't right in that fight, and his style of brawling and going toe to toe and being the tough guy does not work against someone like Clubber Lang.
Yeah, Rocky knows
Point.
about these things.
You're saying yours was better.
I won, didn't I?
Oh, they're making up. Oh, big hugs.
Good seeing you.
Great to see you too. I was talking with your mother, and she says you came up with his name for the child,
Amara.
Amar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why was wrong with that?
No, it's not. It's a beautiful name, but it's kind of complicated. Why don't you think about something, at least I would, a little simpler, say like Becky or Kate, something like that.
Kate Creed.
Kate Creed, 2 C's, easy to remember.
You do know she's gonna be black, right?
Oh, that's right, I forgot. Okay.
Emma.
That's funny. That's a great little line there.
Yeah, that was
Ye-
a good Adonis line.
That was an excellent way of breaking all the tension from that last scene. It was the really, really good comic relief, and they had good chemistry together. Yeah.
This is where Adonis now goes in full likable mode. Let's just be honest. I think from this point on in the film, there's going to be very little, if anything, to say about Adonis' character that we're not going to like.
Good point, Ryan.
Yeah, like we've seen them make up with Unk. They gave each other a hug. He smiled. For once, we saw Adonis smile. Look at that. He can smile.
Yeah.
We don't see that very often.
No, yeah. I like that Rocky says, "Well, I won, didn't I?"
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's great because we don't see that because he's always so humble. The sometimes he doesn't always tell. I don't want to say tells the truth, but he skirts it because he doesn't want to seem cocky. But even in this moment, he kind of was with Adonis because Adonis kind of needed to hear, "Hey, the truth is, I beat the father. I beat Drago."
Which I'd like to point out he shouldn't have.
Oh,
Like I've mentioned this before, but like Rocky's like, your style doesn't work against someone that big. So Rocky's style with Drago was not like it had no finesse or with Lang, he had to fight more like Creed in order to kind of avoid those big punches. And also he kind of did a combination where he took a lot of punches and tired Clubber out. But then with Ivan Drago, he just became a superhuman and just took an insane amount of punishment and walked through it and just took it and took it and took it, and then was able to deliver just enough to beat Ivan. Like he was able to walk through enough punches and land some of his own, which was really not a lot different than what Adonis did with Victor. Like he just came straight at him too. It just died. I don't know.
Adonis didn't train in the barn.
Yes, that's true. He didn't
So,
run
I
up the
mean,
mountain.
Yeah.
He didn't get like training in Siberia tough.
I think Katie might miss the training montage for this recording. I wonder. I know with your being
Oh,
gone.
well, that's okay. It's not Rocky. I like if it was the Rocky 4 training montage, well, one of the four of them, yeah, then I'd be more distraught.
Hey, I will do a teaser.
Where are
up
you
there.
going again?
Oh, sorry. Say again, there, Kyle.
Where are you going again, Katie? I can't remember.
Tanzania.
All right. Well, they have internet there, right?
Yeah. Poor Katie.
They do.
Sorry.
But
Pack your mic. Pack your laptop. Let's go.
Yeah, I know the time difference will be kind of messed up because they're probably like 12 hours ahead of us or something, but we'll make it work.
No pressure. All right. So Don,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can. Well, maybe I can. No tigers. I would have to go to India for that, but I could get some lions. Get the eye of the lion
There you go.
with me.
Yeah.
All right. So Adonis
You can
gets.
be like, don't eat those animals.
Sorry, I keep stepping on you there. What did you say, Kyle?
Katie will defend the helpless gazelle against
right.
the lion from being eaten.
It stresses me out though, because I want to root for both of them, and I don't know how to handle it.
They're in they do it right though, don't they? With the lions, like it's the circle of life and nature, and that keeps everything in balance. It's not the same as like factory farming.
For sure, but it still hurts the poor gazelle.
Yeah, no, it's
I
fucked
mean,
up. Nature's fucked
Yeah,
up. That's right.
Yeah.
Melissa says that LOL at Katie in the Rocky 4 training. He is hot in that. That scene.
Oh, so hot, so hot.
That scene where he does those leg lifts and he's laying down is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called. Like his abs. I'm just like, like he looks good in that barn training.
Yeah, we'll make sure. And then Donald says that Rocky called the Drago fight the best fight of his life in Rocky 5. So dang right, he's proud of winning that fight. He says.
As he should be. It was almost killed him.
Yeah, it almost killed him. A little bit of a tease here. I don't know. Just maybe actually I'll put this out. Send us an email. This is down the road. Probably do it a couple times. Send us an email or let us know on our socials. If we do the Rockies again with Katie and Kyle, especially Rocky 4, should we break down the director's cut or the original cut?
Original. Oh, ask people what they want. Ask people what they want. Either would be fine.
In a way, we've done it already. The Rocky 4, like
True.
me and Ruben at that point, we were pretty good with our groove. Granted, it wasn't you guys, but it'd be interesting, something to throw out there. Yeah. Okay. Because we'd be the first podcast to do that, I think. Who knows?
There you go.
Yeah.
So Adonis gets a call, and it's his mother, I guess. He goes, "Hey, Ma, yeah."
Wait, right now?
Relax.
Okay.
Everything's gonna be fine.
All right, so they've gone to the hospital. Looks like Marianne is in delivery, maybe, and Rocky's assuring Adonis that everything's going to be fine.
You just gotta be there for her, okay? That's your job.
I got you.
And remember,
Time out.
today is gonna
Yeah.
I realized Marianne is at the hospital with Bianca. Is this yet another scenario of a person in the Rocky universe that does not have parents? Like, where's Bianca's mom?
Well, out of town, I guess. Maybe not. They're not geographically there, but she hasn't really spoken about her parents, has she? Or did she mention that first date in Creed? They talked about the parents. I can't remember.
I don't think so. Yeah, this is a case where presumably she has parents, but never talks about them ever.
First kid, I'm
I-
pretty sure
I-
her mom would come, right?
Well, it depends. Like the mom might be there later, which we don't see. Granted, we don't see that, so we have to assume she didn't come, I guess. But is Bianca? Is this baby early or something? Like he seems real surprised that it's happening now.
We'll find out.
Did Usually, if the mom's going to come, like the mom will plan it around the due date to kind of be there. And so, if this is like a premature delivery or something, mom may have missed that. And
Maybe.
I think Bianca's parents disowned her when she became deaf. And when she started singing.
When she started singing more, so no, I'm kidding.
Maybe
I'm
she'd be a
kidding.
good singer if she could hear herself. That's the key.
Oh.
It'll be the best day of your life, right here. Hey? Best day of your life.
Yeah, he says best day of your life. Remember, he said, other than my kid being born, this is the greatest day in the history of my life. Yeah.
If I was Adrian, which I am, obviously, I'd be like, what about our wedding day?
yeah.
Wedding days are gong shows. They really are. Like,
Not theirs. Theirs was really sweet.
no, I mean in general, when people like wedding anniversary, yes, like the idea that I am married to, like Becky and I just celebrated our 12-year anniversary in January. Yeah, of course, we remember our time together, all the journey we've made, but we don't look back at our wedding. Our wedding day is a nothing day. It was also a small ceremony. We just had close friends and family, but that's okay. But it wasn't a gala event. Even if it was, I don't know if I'd look back at this. I think people spend too much money and time on weddings. I think the journey is more of the specialness. So, but kids being born, yeah, I think there's something different about it. I agree. Your kid being born, to me, too, is more special than marrying another adult.
Yeah, I agree. Like that, especially your first kid being born. Like
Yeah, the
this,
first one.
the other ones, it doesn't feel as special, but like there's like a weird mix of like excitement and being fucking terrified
Yeah.
because you like this is a huge change in your life where you're now responsible for another person.
Don't get me started on
And
don't get me started on the birthday stuff again.
I know. I was also gonna take offense because I'm the third born. I'm the youngest child.
Yeah, they don't care
I'm
about you
like,
by then. Yeah, yeah.
They don't. I know.
Well,
Yeah.
well, they weren't afraid though because they know the fucking drill.
That's
By
true.
the time they have 3, they know the drill. They know exactly what to do. But if with your first one, it's like this is a big change. It's like a moment you really remember. I think Rocky though wasn't there for when Robert was born. I think he was at the hospital, but I think back then they did it old school where like the dad is in the waiting room.
Oh, the good old days. Cigars.
Yeah, and soaking a cigar and just bullshitting with other people, and then the baby's born. But now
Yeah.
it's like
Didn't they used to like knock the mothers like out sort of, and then it's like, here's your baby.
yeah, in the 50s they
Yeah.
did that. I think by the late 70s they weren't really doing that anymore. But yeah, like my dad was delivered that way. Like my dad was born in the 50s, and his mom was asleep for the whole thing, which is really weird.
Sounds fantastic though. I mean, if I were to be having kids, I'd be like, wake me up when it's here.
It sounds like my lovemaking. My wife was asleep for the whole thing. And
That's how the baby started. That's how it's gonna end.
that's right. She experienced nothing both times. All right. And then Rocky says here, or Donna says, I'm having a baby. He's all excited. And then Rocky's like, I feel like I'm having a baby.
Aw.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm having a baby.
That's a Rocky thing to say too.
Yeah.
What you doing?
I know.
No, never mind. Just get in here.
Okay.
Like I said, I'll be here if you need me.
All right.
Okay, so Marianne is there to greet Adonis, saying, "Go in there, be with your wife." That's great. So it seems like everything's okay. You know, it just she's in delivery or about to have the baby. There doesn't seem to be a state of emergency per se. They really had a missed opportunity here. Marianne and Rocky are about to talk. I think this is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first conversation we've seen them have together?
Yes.
I was trying to think. They didn't talk on the phone before, did they? I can't
She sent
remember.
a letter. She sent the letter.
That's all I
Oh
remember.
yeah.
So this is the first time they're seeing each other and speaking in 45 years.
Well, that's the thing. Are we led to believe they've never spoken since the funeral, or have they since the events of Creed 1? Since Adonis I'm wondering if they've at least spoken to each other since the first Creed in the last few years of Adonis being in Rocky's life now.
But
I don't think so.
since the first Creed,
Right.
I don't.
This is the
Well, either
misoppor-
way, yeah.
that's the problem. This
Yeah.
is the missed opportunities. We don't have any indication because I wanted something that I don't remember the exact words they exchanged here, but I wanted something to kind of be like address the fact that have they spoken since the first Creed? Have they not spoken since the funeral of her husband? This is a big moment here.
I presumed they didn't speak until now. I think that's
Agreed.
relatively safe to say because Adonis has been in Philly up until really recently. And for something like this, I can't see Marianne being like, "Oh, put Rocky on the phone." Like that seems too weird to me. That seems too hard to believe. I think it's easier to assume that they haven't spoken.
Okay, well, let's watch their actual exchange, and then going with what you said, does their exchange make sense? Or let's find out. I can't quite remember.
You know I'm gonna do what I can.
You being here is more than enough.
It's right there.
Oh wait a minute. They would have spoken. Okay, this wouldn't be their very first time speaking
That's what I mean. Yeah.
because he was in the house, right? She would have had to greet him at the door.
True.
They would have had to speak a little bit. It's not like this is the first words they've spoken
That was a
ever
missed
since
opportunity
he.
then. I wish we saw
Yeah.
Rocky come into the
That
home.
scene. Oh my God.
That could have been. I wonder if
was-
that was a cut scene.
I don't think it was because
It was never filmed. Yeah.
I recall I watched all the deleted scenes and I feel like I would remember it because not only was it, to your point, Ryan, about it being a missed opportunity from learning of that, like listening to them making up, what conversation they had, all of that, but also these two people, Sylvester Stallone and Felicia Rashad, sharing screen time. I don't know. I would have loved it.
So
To
Yeah.
see
I have
the
a
two
theory.
act together.
So I have a theory. So Luis here in our chat says, I thought Marianne mentioned that she hadn't spoke to Rocky since Apollo's death. Did she mention that in Creed 2?
In Creed 1,
We knew
it was
that.
said. Yeah, in Creed 1 it was said.
But I don't think that was mentioned in Creed 2.
Not that I am aware of.
So
They've had no reason to speak to each other. I think.
I don't know about that
You're-
because think about it. Adonis is the son of Marianne, plain and simple. Now Adonis has sought out in the first Creed. He's sought out Rocky, and the events of he sought out Rocky in Creed, the first Creed, and then the events of the first Creed happened. But then in theory, 3 years have passed in between the films and in their lives, in the marriage. Like you got to assume Rocky went to the marriage, went to the wedding.
Ah. Yeah.
And
that's-
him training, like
Right.
just all of the
Wait.
fights, getting him ready to.
So I
Win the
think
Are they
title.
actually married yet? Did they actually get married?
They're-
He propo-
No, they're
he
not married.
proposed.
he's
They're not married.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. He
they're-
proposed in this. That's right. Ugh. See,
Yeah.
I'm just guessing that they were part of each other's life for 3 years, Adonis and Rocky, and Adonis having a great relationship with his mom and a great relationship with Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the two never spoke or buried the hatchet because their conversation right here, to me, indicates a familiarization already or a burying of the hatchet. It was like, I'm going to do everything I can. And she goes, you just being here is all he needs. That's great. So, like, that's
Yeah.
two. Like, oh, and by the way, you didn't throw the towel for my husband. All right, I'm going to go and see the baby.
We missed the scene when he arrives at the house.
Right.
Yeah,
That would have been
probably-
a fantastic scene.
I think that if they had spoken in the 3 years, she would have called him and said, "Look, you need to come here." I think her sending a letter with that thing would be real weird if you have a rapport with someone already.
True.
Also, given that Rocky doesn't want to talk to his own son on the phone because we think that it's been too long and it's too weird, I think that rule would apply in this case too. And there's no evidence they've been over to LA at all. He's been training on the East Coast, and all we know is that he's been staying there for the last 3 years. So I can't see Rocky speaking to her on the phone. That would just be, I know I wouldn't. That'd be real weird. Like, you'd have to kind of have that conversation in person. So like Katie was saying, I think the most likely thing that happened is when Rocky arrived at the house, they had a heart-to-heart and worked things out.
I think so. I think that might be the most logical because Donald does bring up a good point. Rocky struggles to call his own son. No way he's calling Paul's widow.
Yeah.
that's a good point. But what I was getting at, that this conversation here that we just witnessed on screen, there's no way this was the first meeting in 30 years. That's all I'm saying. So something had to have happened before this meeting in the hallway at the hospital. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rocky's feeling like, he's feeling nostalgic. Adonis is about to have a child being born, so he pulls out his little black book of numbers, and there's Robert 604, which is really interesting, Kyle. Did you know that 604 is actually the area code of Vancouver?
I was just looking that up on my phone right now because there is a few BC area codes. I couldn't remember what Vancouver's was. I know 250 is a BC code, but I didn't know
Victoria, it's
604 was.
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah.
So I've lived here my whole life, so I knew that 604 is a Vancouver number. So I thought that was a nice little touch by the prop department, put in a real area code for Robert.
I love that. Like, to me, that shows that you care when you make the movie. Like, of course, it has to have the 555 in it.
Yeah, of course.
That you have to, or else some weirdo is going to call that number. But
now I'm just going to pause it really quick on the book to see if I can get the other names in there. Sorry, go ahead.
And you saw the ball. He had the ball, right?
Yeah,
which has been around since the first movie, so that the ball has remained. It's lived all this time.
I can't make up the other names.
Okay, hold on. There's a 265 area code or 245?
Yeah.
It's the second number down.
That's funny.
It's like a worn little address book.
Of course, he has an address book.
Yeah, and then it's like worn, like he's carrying it around. So that was also a nice touch.
I wonder if it's the same book he was spelling Del Rio in.
That was a notepad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he actually.
Okay, so 265 is a Pennsylvania area code.
Oh, there you go. Wow.
So whoever was doing that book did it right.
So he's holding the phone. He's about to call. He's like, I can't do it. So.
And then the hospital's like, "Are you calling long distance?"
Long distance. I was thinking that
on this phone, jerk.
Well, he's probably wondering how do I call international? Do I do 1 plus the year? Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna stop it there because I think the next scenes coming up are baby stuff. So we'll save that for me and Kyle will talk baby stuff because I know Katie, you got some packing to do. I know you came on a busy night. We do appreciate you joining us. Before you take off, because I think you're going to miss... When are you back again? Remind me, sorry, really quickly.
The 12th?
Oh, yeah.
Which is Saturday.
You're probably going to miss a couple recordings, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anything you want to say to the listeners after... Because we're not going to hear from you for a few episodes or a couple episodes?
Hold down the woman's perspective, Melissa.
Yeah, we're counting on you, Melissa.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's awesome doing this with you guys. I really do. I do have a blast, and I really hope you guys. I don't pull you out of your too much. It's getting busy. I don't mean to. We're talking actually offline. I'll say this: that we're talking offline, the three of us. It's funny because we actually had a different date set. This is just a behind the scenes here, and it's funny how hard it is to get 80 minutes together with three adults. It's just like 8 out of 7 24-hour periods. We're looking for 80 minutes. That's it. So anyways, but I appreciate you guys taking the times out of your family, your work, your vacations, and all that good stuff. So, and I know our listeners appreciate it too.
It's always a blast with you guys.
Awesome.
So,
and the
anytime.
Discord is all wishing you safe travels.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. All right.
A very long journey. I'll need it.
Since you're leaving us, Katie, why don't you take us out?
Ding, ding.